All right. So we're joined here with a great guest, Michael Frizell, writer, and also the writer of Fame by Travis Kelce. So we're going to join him today. We're going to have him. But before we get started, we have to thank our great sponsor, Chef G's Florida Barbecue Sauce. So delicious and addicting. You may need a support group. So make sure you visit Chef G's right there at flbbqsauce.com, flbbqsauce.com. You can also visit Chef G's in Tampa, 301 South 22nd Street, Tampa, Florida. Let them know that the Allen Alford Sports Talk Show sent you. So definitely, this is awesome. This is an honor to bring on Michael Frizell, the author of Fame by Travis Kelce. So how you been?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing excellent. Thank you for joining us here on the Allen Alford Sports Talk Show. And I guess we'll start right there. What made you go ahead and have the passion to release this new comic book?
I've been writing comics for Tidal Wave for about 10 years, and we have covered actresses, musicians, politicians, but very little sports. I'm not really a big sports guy, but come on, Kelce. I'm in Missouri. If I don't at least try to write about the Chiefs at least once, they're going to deport me back to New Jersey, where I'm from. So I'm stuck. But we recently, the company released a comic, probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to anyway, on Taylor Swift. And it went crazy. The sales went through the roof. We started looking at sequels. We started talking about, well, what could we do next? And somewhere along the line, it was either Mahomes or Kelce kind of popped up, and it just seemed like a natural fit to start working with Kelce. And I'm in Springfield, Missouri, which is about 2.5 hours south of the Chiefs Stadium. And we see him on TV all the time. He is on every morning pitching his his philanthropies that he works with. There's a local lawyer that he works with here, and he's just funny. And so I started talking to the publisher, said, I think I can do this. There's a lot of material here. And so we set out to try to tell his story in 22 pages. It was a challenge.
Yeah, that is right. I had the honor of actually reading it. It was awesome. And it's actually a motivational type of book to tell a story.
That's what I wanted to do. When you're talking about real people, you can make him like this big, larger than life gridiron hero, but I find that kind of boring. I really wanted to know a little bit more about him. So the first thing I did when I started the research was I called my old college roommate. And the reason I did is that he's got tattoos of the Chiefs on his arms. His whole family dresses in red every Friday. And it's a big event for all of them to see the game at his house. And I said, hey, dude, tell me anything that you know about Kelce. And he says, man, he almost wasn't a football player. He got in trouble in college. I said, there's my story. I got to start there, because you got this guy that's kind of unfocused, suddenly finds his passion and focus in a way that he didn't expect. I think that tells a better story than just saying, yeah, he's the best tight end ever.
You're right. It was amazing how this comic told about his upkeep to go ahead and get to the NFL, because it wasn't easy, and he got a second chance that most people don't get, and that's inspiring in itself.
I thought so. I don't like writing about these people that they've been groomed all their lives to be famous. I find that boring. There was just something about this guy that, well, he was pretty likable. And, just watching him like on Saturday Night Live or just any of the other guest appearances he's doing anywhere, he's got a good sense of humor. He seems pretty down to earth. Who knows? I wasn't sure where the research was going to take us. And I wasn't sure of the story, but I knew that I had to open up with the fact that he messed up early in college and that he almost didn't get a shot. And I felt like that might be a little bit more inspirational to say, okay, here's a guy who went from really on the edge. He's got a brother rooting out for him. He's got family that's really supporting him, which I thought was really great. And then he moves through his career, and now he becomes what? The most famous boyfriend on the planet right now. I mean, it's a crazy bit. I don't know. It was kind of fun to think about. And as somebody who's not real athletic myself, I'm a terrible asthmatic. So you figure that's why he's a writer. He's not out there. And I figured I wanted to relate to him in some way. And that pivotal moment for him, I think I have a scene in there where he's making phone calls for a petition on Obamacare, trying to get people to sign up, and he's getting hung up on. And that frustration of being in this dead end job that's not really doing anything for him, just suddenly, his brother's going, you need to do more, get out of the house, quit messing up things, quit being a dummy. And I like that. It made me feel like I could relate to the guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And props to his brother Jason, who really helped him out and kind of vouched for him with coach, because if it really wasn't that family support, there would be no Travis Kelce playing in Super Bowl this weekend.
Boy, that's the truth. And I think that's the cool part. I've got a brother too. He's an artist. Name's David. And whenever I'm down, he seems to be up. And whenever he's up, I'm down and I'm up. We kind of play off each other really well. We've even worked together on some other books, and it's really helpful to have that kind of support. I know I could pick up the phone right now and say, dude, I need some help. And he would be over here. And I feel like that's the kind of story between the brothers that made sense to me. Do you feel that connection? And I really wanted to play that scene up pretty good too. And so I spent a lot of our real estate dealing with their relationship.
Yes, exactly. I mean, you got everyone in there. You got the family, you got Travis, and you got Taylor in there.
Well, I think the publisher would have run me out of the business if I hadn't at least put her in there. Now, we've got 22 pages, so I've got to give the artist time to tell the story too. So it's about 100 pictures roughly. So you're taking the photograph book of this guy's life, throwing it on the floor and mixing it up and trying to make it tell a story. And at the same time, the publisher said, dude, you've got to get Taylor Swift in there. Of course I do. They're now linked. So I figured the way I told the story, we've got room for more if people respond to it. And there's a sequel, hopefully there will be. But it's nice to tell a done in one story, from kind of this mess up to, dating Taylor Swift. That makes it kind of fun. And I know Taylor's getting kind of a rap right now. People are upset with her because she's taken focus or whatever. When I was in school, I always thought the football player and the popular girl were supposed to be together. So it makes a lot of sense to me. But
yeah, that's a great point. What are your thoughts on people getting upset at her getting this attention?
Well, I mean, no matter where she goes, she's going to get attention. And I saw this video, and it was a viral thing on, I think it was Instagram, of this young lady crying in the car and really being upset because during her Taylor Swift concert, they cut to Travis Kelce for a whole 20 seconds in the 3.5 hours. And she thought it was ruining the entire live music.
Wow.
It was supposed to be parody. It was hilarious. But when you think about flipping that script a little bit, it's like, really, is this important? Do the other wives get dragged like this? The other girlfriends get dragged? If she would be dragged more if she didn't go to the games. She's not supporting him, right? And here they're talking about her flying from Tokyo or something to get to the Super Bowl. Girl's gonna be tired when she gets there. But come on. I think it's fine. I think it's cool. I have a lot of fun with it. It doesn't bother me in the least. I think I'm not really I don't really follow a lot of the popular stuff. I'm not worried about relationships with people I'm never gonna know, But I don't know. There's something about this one that makes me laugh. I like it. They seem genuine. Now, I don't know. Just done the research, listening to what he said in interviews, unpacking all that for the comic. I really feel like there's some genuine affection there, and I don't understand why people are so upset about it.
I totally agree. That's what a good girlfriend or wife does. They support their significant other. She's supposed to show up at the game. So, yes, she's Taylor Swift, but it's not her panning to herself.
No.
It's part of what it is. But definitely, I just think that what Travis is doing great. And do you have any predictions for this weekend's big game?
Oh man, I read somewhere that they're the underdogs, and the Chiefs happy about that, because they usually do pretty well when they're digging out. I don't know. They had a really rough season from what I've heard, and from the research I did. And my wife and I have this weird feeling, like whenever we watch the game from start to finish, they lose. We feel like we are the ones that are causing it. So we're always kind of like cutting in and out of the games. But I don't know. This one, my prediction is that there's a lot of pressure on these guys now. To get this far, the underdog, the packing on this. People are getting tired of the Chiefs, kind of like the way they were in the 80s when we were all sick of the Cowboys winning all the time. There always seems to be this fickle thing where, oh no, now they're winning, we all don't like them anymore. It's an odd mix that we as viewers tend to lean into. My prediction is going to be really close. And I don't believe in any of these conspiracy theories that it's preordained or pre-scripted or whatever. I mean, I even read one where they said Kelce was going to propose to her if they won, or it's like, oh, just stop. Just let it happen, man. I want to say he's going to win, and I want to say that they're going to win tight, like a field goal. I really don't think it's going to be a blowout on either side. I think it's going to be pretty close. And the Chiefs have got a lot to prove on this one, too. You keep going back, but you don't always win. It's still good for the city. It's still great for tourism in the area. But let's be honest, they got a lot to live up to right now. And Mahomes could do it.
But you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's hard for me to bet against him.
Every time you do, you lose. I mean, he seems to pull it out. And some of those catches in that last game, especially that last one from Kelce, that was impressive. I don't even know how he did it and held on to it, but it was an amazing shot. And Mahomes has got this thing about him, and I've never seen it before. And my dad used to watch games a lot. My grandfather was really into it. Even my son, huge Chiefs fan. And then there's me going, yeah, it's football school. They are all just way into this and rooting for him because of the way that he somehow turns even adversity into yards. I've never seen a quarterback rush that much.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, Mahomes, he's special. There's a reason why he's got rings already and why he's moving up the ladder, because he is a transcendent player. He can really knows how to play that position. And the thing about him, he may not be the fastest guy in the league or have the strongest arm, but he definitely is up there, and he makes it all work. And his IQ is ridiculous.
That you're right. That's true. He's fun to listen to too, and we were really tempted to do the comic on him just because he's got a personality on him. And I mean, Kelce kind of sucks the air out of the room with his, but Mahomes has got it. And his wife was Mahomes' wife was dragged quite a bit too early on, and I don't understand that either. But I guess it's just part of the game that these guys are going to be scrutinized no matter what they do. But on the field, he seems to just try to do everything he can to let it go. Now, I've got a buddy who's not a fan of the Chiefs, and he's saying, look, they have spent all their money on these two guys, and they ought to be getting deeper in that line if they really want to keep winning. I'm like, but they keep going to the big dance, right? You can't just say it's two guys doing it when you got this entire team. So I don't know. I can't believe I'm talking the sport with you. My wife wouldn't even recognize me right now.
But I gotta ask, Mike. So, how long have you been writing comic books?
About 10 years. I'm actually an academic. I work at Missouri State University, and I run their tutoring on their campus. And I also run a writing center that helps faculty, staff, and students with their writing. And I don't know, it was about a decade ago, I ran into Darren Davis, the publisher of Tidal Wave, and I had just started working with a graphic novel that I was working for another company. And he said, hey, you ever written a comic? I'm like, I'd like to try that. That'd be fun. Because I've been writing academic stuffy stuff and running academic journals and things like that. Okay, that's fine for my career. But where's the fun in that? And so he had me pitch a couple comics. And one of the first ones that got published was on Christopher Reeve's life, right after he had passed, or several years after he passed. And the Reeve Foundation liked it, added some pages to it. And suddenly, I'm a comic book writer. And now I've got several hundred for the company. I write a lot of the famous or infamous people, these real life stories, but I also do some fiction stuff, some science fiction, some parody, little comedies, even some kids stuff. It's been a fun ride. I don't know when it's going to end. I told Darren, I've got a good day job. I've got the writing on the other side. This ever gets boring, I'm out. He's like, trust me, it's not going to get boring. And as soon as like the Kelce book hit, he's not lying. We have been going nuts. The last time I had a book that hit this big, I think, was when we wrote about the Tiger King during COVID.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, that is awesome. And props to Darren for helping us with this interview. How is it working with Darren and Tidal Wave Publishing?
it's fun. Actually, for the 10 years, we've been texting or Zooming in or things like that, calling. In fact, I was texting with them all day today, but I'd never met him until a few months ago, not in
Wow.
person. I was out in Portland on my day job working with an international organization, and I happened to be in town. So I had dinner with him and his partner, and it was cool. I mean, it was just like we were old friends, and I had a great time with him. I think working with him is fun because he gives me a lot of freedom. He does pull me back, and he does a good job with editing, and the guy's got timing. Um, I've never known anybody that could time something out like this. The Taylor Swift book was released the same day she was Times Person of the Year. Like,
Wow.
who does that? And he's like, I didn't plan it, I didn't know, and yet there it is. So he things like that happen to him constantly. He's got this I don't know. I just want to rub his head for good luck because it seems like he's got an uncanny knack for just understanding um, the pop culture. He used to work for E Entertainment. He had a big comic with Image Comics a while back called The 10th Muse, the 10th biggest selling comic of all time in the 90s. So he knows the business, and he's just a heck of a nice guy. I've had a great time. So
Yeah, that is awesome that you've got a great relationship.
yeah.
And is there any comic book writers that you think are doing great and aspire to?
Oh, wow. I always lean back on the old writers from what they call the Bronze Age, the 80s and 90s, when I really started getting into it. There's one writer, and his name is Bill Mantlo. He was actually injured in a car accident crossing the street in New York and has been in like care and unable to write since that incident. But the comics he wrote still resonate today. And they're going to be silly when I say them out loud, and your sports audience is going to roll their eyes and go, what's he talking about? But he wrote these comics based on popular toys from the 80s. Rom Space Knight was his big one, Micronauts comics. And you think, they're toys. How layered could that be? They are amazing. Think no restrictions on science fiction budget. Think big space battles and beautiful women and monsters. And as a kid, man, he fired my imagination. And ever since then, I thought I'd love to do that. In fact, I even got a letter that I wrote to him in 8th grade that was published in ROM number 40. And I tried to come up with a theory as to why they weren't showing the monsters' faces. And I was wrong, but it was fine because I wrote a little story, and they actually sent me a letter back in encouragement saying to keep writing. And as an 8th grader, to see your name in print in a comic that you loved with a
Wow.
writer that you admired, dude, I thought I was Stephen King at that moment. I thought the world is my oyster. And I've read about everything he's ever written. Modern writers, there's several that I like, but I always come back to him. Always.
Oh, so yeah, he's an inspiration.
Yeah.
And one person who's into comics, and that's another thing. When you visit tidalwavecomicpublishing.com. It is a comic book. It looks almost like a toy, but it's not.
Right. Yeah. I get a lot of questions about that because they're like, is it a comic? So what's happened to him? Like, did Kelce get bitten by a radioactive football and suddenly, no, it's not that. It's actually just taking his biography and making it in graphic format. We found that reluctant writers, collectors, kids of all ages would actually read those books. And about my favorite thing is when I get a letter from a kid saying, I loved your comic. And I read it over and over again. I think that's amazing stuff. And I've got one from, what was his name? It's been so long and I've got so many projects. I can't remember the guy's name. Football player. He is a quarterback. God, what is his name? Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, okay. Yep.
No.
So we have the current. You talking about current player now?
I think so.
Russell Wilson was.
That's it.
Prior,
Thank you.
okay, Russell Wilson was prior. That's the, that's probably what he was thinking about. Yep.
Yeah, he's the first football player I ever wrote about, and a kid wrote me a letter, said he loved it. But I like writing about sports because comics are about action. You want to see the action on the page, and having the athletic moments is great. Telling their life stories behind the scenes is more fun for me. So when you get to mix the two, you've got like an automatic fun thing to carry around and read. It's not like writing about politicians where they're in committee for 22 pages. I don't care about that. I'd much rather have the action that people expect from a comic book.
Yeah, and that's amazing that you can do that and keep it at 22 pages. Is that tough? The editing?
Yeah. I probably had 10 more pages than I needed at the beginning, and then you start just cutting it down. I watch a lot of video, read a lot of stuff, try to get his voice, get some quotes from him that I really like, start to piece together the narrative, and it gets crazy and it gets really tight. So over the years, as the years have passed, I've gotten a little better at it with the research. It used to take me 3 or 4 weeks to do all that. Now it's a couple weeks because I know what I'm looking for now. I'm looking for the highlights and where they're from and fun things about their family or relationships, things that they've messed up on, those are the things to kind of make a whole, like a portrait of a person. And then I try to find an angle. And for him, you had said it earlier that you found that it was like an inspirational at the end. And that was kind of what I was looking for. It's like, he was aspiring to be something that he didn't think he could be, that he doesn't see in himself. And though he doesn't say it in the comic, reading between the lines, the whole idea is that the only thing that's holding him back is him.
That's absolutely right. And it's powerful. Yeah. I love that comic, man. I tell you, it was awesome. And I have to say, Travis, do you think Travis knows about the book, or will he hear about this comic book?
I hope he does. I mean, I'm sure he's a little busy right now, I mean, he's pretty busy right now. Tidal Wave will usually reach out to their people or whatever and see if we can get them involved. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. I always get a little nervous when a new book comes out because I never know when I'm going to get the call from them and say, oh, yeah, by the way, his people read this and you screwed up on a page. Let's fix that. And that's going to happen occasionally. But we have had the involvement of the star or the politician or whatever. And I think it makes for better books. So I do hope that somewhere along the line, probably well after the fur from this weekend dies down, you'll finally get a look at it and see what he says. I don't know. We'll see. I hope so. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I definitely hope so too, because it is awesome. Both versions, the one that you have of Taylor and also the one with Travis, but Taylor is in the one in Travis's book. So for those who don't know, and the other one is coming out. I know you could purchase it online, but it's not coming out till soon.
Which one? The Travis book?
The Taylor Swift book.
The Taylor Swift book is out now.
Okay.
Before beat the Taylor, it beat us by a couple weeks.
Okay. Yes.
And but I guess I can tell you this. I don't think Darren would mind. We do have a sequel coming up for the Taylor that I wrote that one. So we had another writer write Taylor. I actually turned the Taylor book down the first time. I didn't really know what to say about her. So I said, I don't want to do that one. And so I chose Shakira or something. And And the Taylor book went crazy, and then my publisher's like, "See, I told you. Why don't you listen to me after 10 years? What's up?" And so, yeah, he tasked me to do another book for it. But yeah, it is what it is. The business is crazy, and you never know what people are going to respond to.
Exactly right. They can get the book there, Tidal Wave Publishing.com. And anybody who wants to keep up with you, how would they follow you?
Well, I'm a terrible author in that I'm not hiding who I am. I'm on Twitter at Michael-Frizell. I have a Facebook page. Tidal Wave has got me on there. Missouri State's got me all over the. You can find me if you really wanted to. I usually, when people ask me, I refer them to my Amazon profile because I'm like, I don't know. I don't have time to create a website for myself like I should. Maybe I'm just terrible at marketing myself and just worry about the work.
Yeah.
Maybe someday I'll hire somebody to, I don't know, create a website. I don't know. I think I could do it on Wix or something, but I don't know. I've never tried.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely keep in touch with you
Please
and
do.
make sure we keep promoting the book because it's awesome. And I guess you're picking the Chiefs.
I am. I'm picking the Chiefs, Alan. Yeah, that's where I am. I'm going with it. What the heck?
That's awesome. But I definitely appreciate you, Michael. Zell, definitely join us on the Allen Alford Sports Talk show. It's been awesome. And definitely get his book, Fame, Travis Kelce. And you could also get the other version, Female Force, Taylor Swift. That's both available. Tidal Wave, comicbookpublishing.com.
You
But
bet.
I appreciate you. Thank you so
Thanks,
very
sir. It
much.
was fun. It's fun.
You're welcome. It was. It definitely was. We got to do this again. But we got to invite the other two in there, Travis and Taylor.
Oh, that'd be fun, wouldn't it? I would just sit there and just be like the whole time. So
That's right.
yeah, bro.
But enjoy the Super Bowl.
Thanks, sir. You too.
You welcome. Take it easy. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right.
Bye for now.